Nathaniel Smith, and I serve as the founder and chief equity officer of the Partnership for Southern Equity. Yeah, so the Partnership for Southern Equity works to advance racial equity in the American South. On many occasions, we refer that towards really realizing what we call a new Southern agenda, right? That will be more inclusive and more just, and at the end of the day, finally realize a world where the color of someone's skin doesn't dictate their life outcomes. Yeah, so, I've always, for as long as I can remember, been extremely passionate about, racial justice and really working to create a world where all people mattered and all people were included in the prosperity of that particular community. And so many years ago, I was an employee at Emory University. And I had an opportunity to take 22 key leaders from around the metropolitan Atlanta region to a racial equity summit that occurred in New Orleans. And the summit was so inspirational, but at the same time, it also made us sad that while this key conversation was happening about equity and about realizing just and fair inclusion for all, Atlanta, and specifically the South, was woefully behind as related to having organizations and institutions and other key aspects of change that are required in order to create the type of world that we wanted to see as a collective. And so since I brought everyone there, most of them looked at me simultaneously and said, well, you brought us here, what are you gonna do about it? And so from that came initially an organization called Equity Atlanta, which was really just a loose network of leaders and organizations that came together to just talk about equity and why equity is important and why Atlanta needed to be at the center of the equity conversation for the South and why was the South important. And so we did forums and conversations and networking events. And then one day, there was a great opportunity for an expansion of transit to occur in Georgia. And simultaneously, I had no idea that key partners and funders were inspired by the work that Equity Atlanta was doing. And both of those, came together to create an environment where the Partnership of Southern Equity came to be. And that has been now almost 11 years since we have become an organization, and we've just been moving forward to advance racial equity ever since. Our initial work focused a great deal on transportation equity, working to expand public transit and provide opportunities for all people to have access to public transit. That has changed into 5 different portfolios now that focus on from climate justice to energy equity to cultivating youth power and agency to economic inclusion and health equity. And so, we're just really blessed that we've grown, and we're going to continue to work with our partners to realize that world that Dr. King talked about so long ago. I can't say enough about how important that is. I mean, in the 60s and even in, Atlanta, the city of Atlanta really became the logistical home of the civil rights movement. It was the place where great leaders like, Rita Samuels and Lula Joe Williams and Joseph Lowry and Hosea Williams, and of course, Dr. King and other great leaders, Andrew Young, came together to really strategize and think about ways that we can move forward and how that Southern agenda could be effective and grow. Of course, I don't think that it's by happenstance that the Partnership of Southern Equity is here. And, really, trying our best to take the baton, receive the baton, and run, and to continue to run. And so, place does matter. And I think that by the Partnership for Southern Equity being in Atlanta, being in what many consider the capital of the South, a place that is strategically and logistically accessible to all places and as well as a place that has an incredible and strong history of not just, cultivating and incubating great Black leaders, but also great policy, and to really take those examples and really internalize it and help shape an organization like PSC was just essential for PSC to become what it is today. Yeah, so one of our biggest highlights is an initiative that we have called the Justice 40 Accelerator. When President Biden came into office, he signed an executive order called the Justice 40 executive order that requires 40% of all climate remediation dollars to go towards disinvested and vulnerable communities. We knew that putting good money into bad systems would never realize equitable results. And so what we did, along with our other partners, Elevate Energy, Groundswell, the Solutions Project, and Hummingbird, the Hummingbird firm, is to actually begin the process of creating an effort called the Justice 40 Accelerator that would not just count on and hope that the dollars would get to Black communities, but to really begin the process of cultivating the capacity of organizations led by Black people and historically disinvested communities of color to actually compete effectively for the dollars that would be coming down from the Biden administration. And so now we're working with 52 organizations from around the country, working to increase their technical assistance, to technical capacity, and we're also providing dollars, real resources that they can utilize to hire grant managers or to pay for bonding or other key things that sometimes minimize the opportunities for them to be competitive for federal dollars. So we're really excited about the accelerator, and it's really become more than that. It's really become a movement in many ways, and so we're thankful for that. We also are working on an initiative in partnership with the Rockefeller Foundation called Just Capital, where we're working with 30 Black micro businesses in the city of Atlanta, again, providing technical assistance, creating a village where they can get to know each other and support each other, a village of collaboration, and also providing dollars, to make sure that those businesses are successful. But I think this is the thing that we're most excited about. We're actually encouraging them and teaching them how to be more effective on the civic front. And again, you asked the earlier question about why Atlanta is special, because the Black business community was civically engaged in Atlanta in ways that in other cities they were not. And so we want to, elevate and advance and continue that legacy. We're also doing great work around our youth engagement work through Youth Empowered Solutions for Equity, Yes for Equity, where we have now hired 10 youth organizers that are working in both North Carolina and Georgia to begin the process of working with communities around advancing equity. One exciting effort that has come out of Yes is some work that we're doing around cultivating a youth green jobs pipeline, where we'll be working with young people to develop job opportunities that are coming around solar and also around battery technology and wind technology. In my world, we call that the clean energy economy. And we want to make sure that as we transition towards that economy, that young people, young black kids and brown kids will be positioned to be successful. So there are many, many things that we're doing. So many things, from the things that I've discussed to even working with the private sector through the Just Business Roundtable, where we're working with 30 companies now in the city of Atlanta and in the region to advance a corporate racial equity agenda. I'm just so blessed and thankful, that the Partnership for Southern Equity has been put in this unique position to not just talk about it. And again, I think that, and I come from a background where my parents were involved in the civil rights movement. So I know the importance and power of marches and the power and the importance of having press conference where the community can speak with one voice. But in addition to that, though, we need, after the marches and press conference, action. We need to make sure that we have not just the no, but the yes, that we're able to work together to move the needle in ways where our community stakeholders and the communities that we care about can actually say, I can see the change happen, I can feel the change happen because organizations like PSC are constantly working to move the needle for me and the people that I love in my community. Well, one long-term partnership that I definitely want to lift up and is actually materialized into an award for the organization is Bank of America. Recently, I had the honor of receiving the inaugural Racial Equity and Community Builder Award, and other colleagues from around the country had a chance to receive it as well, to really highlight the work of the Partnership for Southern Equity. Not only were we acknowledged, but we also received a $200,000 grant to support the work of the Partnership for Southern Equity. And those two things may seem important, but it was really the long-term relationship that we've been able to cultivate and develop with Bank of America, and in particular the support that they've provided for our Just Opportunity work, our economic inclusion work, as well as their active participation in the Just Business Roundtable. That partnership was very important and critical. Another great partnership that I always want to lift up is the City of East Point, where we worked with the City Council and Mayor Dina Ingram to develop the first equity and inclusion strategic plan of any city in the state of Georgia. Worked for months to realize that plan, and so we're blessed to have great relationships with elected officials. And I think that Mayor Ingram and the City Council of East Point are a true reflection of what is possible when you have a village of public servants that are willing to move forward to advance equity in their particular jurisdictions. So they're really important to us. I don't want to get in too much trouble because, when you start naming people who are important, other people are listening and may say, well, why didn't you mention me? So I'll just say that I just love and appreciate everybody for this. The Atlanta Voice, I can't say enough about the relationship and partnership that we have with the Atlanta Voice and how important the Atlanta Voice is to the Black community and the legacy that they are building upon and the platforms that they're providing for leaders like me to be heard in community. The relationship that we have with the Voice is invaluable as well. So there are many, many partners in the corporate community, in the nonprofit community, in philanthropy, even in academia, that have chosen to lock arms with the Partnership for Southern Equity. And we appreciate every single one of them, from the corporations like MailChimp and Cox Enterprises, all the way down to the frontline organizations like the West Atlanta Watershed Alliance. We appreciate everybody, and we're just so thankful that we've created a space for folks to come together and move this work together. To the individuals that are listening to this interview, we're in a very critical and important time, not only in Atlanta or Georgia or the South, but the nation. And it is going to be critical that we get up off of the sidelines of mediocrity and get in the game of transformation. We must all play our part, and all of our parts aren't the same, but we've got to play our part nonetheless. Doing nothing is not an option. We must all play our part. And at the end of the day, if not us, who? We can't wait on anyone else to work together to create the type of world that we want to see. And that's going to take courage and a deep commitment to creating opportunities for all people, even if those same people that we're creating opportunities for are not people that we usually spend time with or visit the neighborhoods that they live in. But I promise you that their destiny, their livelihood is connected to our destiny and our livelihood. And so we must work together to make sure that we're all able to move forward as a community. And the only way that it is going to happen is if you get involved. So, engage with organizations like the Partnership for Southern Equity or local community groups or other groups that are doing the work. We need your engagement. We need your support. The time is now. And I just thank you for taking the time to listen to my interview. And I look forward to hopefully getting to know each and every one of you one day. Thank you.